Okay, I went and got some V-twin collars, which are from Eastern. So they're pretty thick. Problem is we're a little bit too thick, I think. I'm coming up with between 8590 to 310-ish area. Everything kind of rocks around, so it's hard to tell exactly what it is. So the only way to know for sure is to actually just go ahead and assemble it. Put some real tension on it. See what we really have. So I need at least 315 to put me in my 430 lift area, which would be for a Y cam. So I don't know what this customer has for cams. I don't know what I have to use my best judgment here. I'd rather have the clearance for 450, not 430. Yeah. Get my finger in there. No, I can. Not in there. See how it's going to pop out. Keeper's not where it belongs. The compressor is sliding off the end of the valve spring collar and it's not where it belongs. There it goes. See, now they're in there where they belong, nice and flat. A little dangerous there. And I want to hang up like that in quite a few years. See, bounce that thing in there. Okay, now we take it and measure it and see what the real number is. Yeah, we're not at 300. We're down about 275 actually. So 280, I'll call it 280. Nowhere near the 310 number I wanted, at least. Probably more like 325 that we need, so using these collars is a joke. Can't use them. So we'll try the Harley collar. See what we get with that. These ones are just way too thick. Let's see, that's the one you don't want to use. There's the Harley collar. They're pretty thick also. Okay, check it again. Bingo. 310. A little tight, but we're right there. Okay, so that's maximum pressure for a 430 lift. At 315 I came up with 0.825 plus 0.05 plus 0.43. Yep, 305. So I used 0.434, so that's 40 in it. Okay, so now we're good for about 335 lift. And our cam I think is in that 440-ish area. So that's right at our limit using a stock collar. These don't fit, they're too much. These are a lot thicker than stock evidently. So they're great for worn out heads, but not for this application. We got, well, at least what we're trying to come up with the numbers here. So the exhaust side, we know that we got to put a big shim into that one. So I'm going to have to come up with more stock collars and not using these at all. So I can probably use these on exhaust, which will help us. So I'll put 2 of these on exhaust. I'll use another stock collar on the intake, and I'll still have to shim this up. Probably 50, probably another 60 on that, I bet. So let's find out. Here's our nice thick collar, spacers, shims, what are you going to call them? 59 thou, perfect. So I'm going to try this combination here. Let's make sure that fits in there. It just barely does. Now if this doesn't sit flat against the inside, then it doesn't work. Makes it very unstable valve train, which I've seen done a lot. Not the best way to do things though. Okay, here's our exhaust. Top collar. Set of keepers. A lot of trial and error going on here. How long has that camera been stupid location? Probably all along. See, I can't watch the camera and do the work at the same time as well. Push that down to those pop in the groove. There it goes. Drop the other one on top. Have to do it in correct location though. So you hold it like that. Drop it straight in, center it if you have to, then pull it out. Meantime, keeps the lower one where it belongs, otherwise it's like that last one was coming out. Try not to pinch your finger in there while you're doing it though. That is optional. Okay, so it's in there. There's no reason to have an equal gap on both sides. That's bullshit. I've had customers really pissing one about that. Makes absolutely no difference at all. Bingo. About 320. Maybe even 325. We're lucky. See? Get lower now. See, I change the camera angle. Alright, so looks like that's the combination we're going to use. So that packs in for maximum tension with a stock spring, and we're still clearance for a decent cam in here. So assuming there's something in this motor, I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea. So all I can do is play it safe. Otherwise, make sure you got room. Okay, now I got to figure out what I'm going to do for valve seal clearances. Now that I have my combination of parts figured out, now we figure out the rest of it. So with the intake, I burred up the valve. There you go, lightly. That was the one the keeper was in there sideways. Put a little nick in the valve, a new nick. It already had a bunch of nicks, now it's got some new nicks. So you can either go play with this a little bit or just re-hone it real quickly. It's easier to re-hone it real quickly. Probably right there's a new nick. So I'm just going to go over here and grab the hone. It's right here. Stick it on the valve. Pull the tension on it. And spin it a couple times. Take it off. That's all it takes. Wipe off all the grit. Oh, nice and free again, see? Perfect. Problem solved. Very important. Shows you how tight the valve clearance was. Didn't take much to make it not want to come out. This for the exhaust. Okay, so the intake, stock collar with nothing on it. We're going to measure our stall height. Seal clearance. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, go back. Okay, I got the valve in here, no seal. So we can figure out our valve seal clearance, or stop seal clearances. We use this kind of seal, right here. There's 300 thou on the inside where it goes over the guide, and it's 100 to 125 above. So you gotta make sure you make room for that. Those are not supposed to be in here. So, so you gotta make sure you got clearance. So if you got 450 lift, and you got 150 coming off, that means you need some room. That's 600. So we have 560. We're a little short. We got 350 there. So if we take off that number there, we should just have enough clearance with the seal for 450 lift. We still have about 30 or 40 of seal clearance where it bottoms out. So that's what we need to figure out. So this one we're going to have to cut down about 50, 60 thousandths. I'll cut it down to my normal clearance for 300. So right now we are at about 350. So yeah, we cut it down 50 thou, be about 425-ish area. So we'll cut it down to that number and we would measure it. So my normal stuff. So we'll do that. Now this side over here, a different case going on. So this one we have a shim. Right here. Big ass collar. Shave that thing off. We'll be about 325 right now, if we have to. Let's just see what we got right now. This one's probably going to have over 600 in here. Oh yeah, we got 630, 640 in there right now. So all I got to do is cut down clearance for 300 here, which means I cut it off. It'll be fine. So I can barely kiss the top of that if I want to give a little extra clearance. So I'll probably just kiss it lightly on the exhaust and barely touch it. Yeah, it's up there about 475 right now. So blow it down to about 460. We'll be fine. And I got to blow this edge off right here like I did on these other collars. Here. So when you cut the shoulder off here, then you have room for seals. The disadvantage of this is when you got a loose fitting spring like this, there's nothing to locate the inner spring. So it's free to move around, which is not the best. But you either got to have clearance or not clearance, your choice. Because this one here, you see how the inner spring sits on the shoulder right there. Because some clearance, but not a lot. More than we have in this spring. So this one over here, you got quite a bit of clearance there. So that's the disadvantage of doing that. We have to make room for the seals. So that's how you make room for the seals. Gotta blow that edge off. Alright, so I'm going to cut two of these away. We're going to cut the guide away slightly, but not all the way. And I might not have to cut all of this off either. But more likely I probably will. Yep. We'll cut it all off. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So that is going to require some cutting to do all this. Cut 50 off of that. Yep. 420 will do it. Okay, so we're going to go cut all these things down. So to do this, we've got to get our valve seal cutters, which are over here. So you got Evo, intake sportster, exhaust sportster. We need a head holding fixture. That would be called a radius tube, not the flat side, the radius side. Because that matches the inside of the combustion chamber that we cut right here. And this one over here, see it sits in there a little bit. So it doesn't do any damage, supports the head, so I can cut the other side. There we go, simple. So this stuff all goes over there. Alright, let me get up all my stuff, we'll be back.